Sports in particular? Like, just the same reason why, men are typically faster, stronger than women.
Are they now?
Our rights can only be secured by the defeat of the British capitalist state through socialist revolution.
This is one of the things that I speak out about. How over-radicalized trans people are.
Trans rights are human rights, one struggle, one fight.
A woman is who she thinks she is.
See, by that logic, this man has transitioned into a Pidgeotto.
So now that you've transitioned, can you give birth?
No, I can't give birth. Not yet. No, that might be coming.
I've been in women's bathrooms. Women's rights have been eroded by J.K. Rowling.
J.K. Rowling did 9/11, did you know?
Well done, J.K. We love women so much we want to be one.
I identify as a woman, and so if someone were to tell me, oh, well, then use the men's bathroom,
right,
that's very disrespectful.
Unless one person, one woman in that toilet turns around to me and says, could you use another toilet? In which case I'll come out and I'll wait till she's done and I'll go back in there and say, anyone else object to me using the lid?
I love you, Mary.
So we're going to watch more protest stuff. Trans Meltdown. What is a Woman? UK edition. Wesley Winter. I've seen Wesley Winter before. Like, I think ideologically we're probably quite different, but I know, I'm interested in how this goes down. It's a bit longer. We watched something by someone called Resistance GB. She was like followed around by these creepy fucking losers that also show up in this one. But yeah, let's see. So we've got Wesley Winter.
I plan to piss wherever I want, which is the women's bathroom, and I will continue to.
We're kind of all legally gay men again. Like, isn't that crazy?
The UK has ruled what a woman is, after For Women Scotland won a legal battle that went all the way to the Supreme Court. It was unanimously decided that the word woman refers to biological sex, meaning women-only spaces must remain female-only. The decision sparked emergency protests across the country as trans rights activists say their rights are now under threat. So I went to find out why, but more importantly, what is a woman?
I'm watching pregnant children be called women.
I hate being perceived as a man.
We love women so much we want to be one. You can't say more than that.
When does it come a point to say I am a woman? Hi guys,
By the way, make sure you like the stream. Make sure you scroll down. Click the like button. You see the like button there? Just give it a click. Make sure you check the links in my description. You can support me on Twitch. I'm monetized on there. You can support me on Patreon for a few bucks a month. Help me keep the lights on. Help me keep the stream running. You can donate via Streamlabs. You can super chat. You can have your message read out. You can join my Discord if the link is correct. I can't remember. You can buy my music. You can stream my music. You can check all that out. Anyway.
See behind me, there's a lot of trans rights activists out today. They've got their trans flags, their signs, but have always existed. So it's going to be quite a big protest today after the court ruled that woman means woman.
Yeah, I saw bits of Chud's stream, so a bit of this is like pre-watched, I guess.
Who would have thought? But apparently a lot of people aren't too happy about that, and that's why there's such a big crowd here today in London. Check it out. So we've got a lot of people turning out today. Why do you reckon most people are here?
To raise awareness for transgender visibility and to fight for our freedoms, to be acknowledged as the women that we are today.
Why do you believe you're not being acknowledged?
Are you meant to make that noise when you breathe in? Jesus.
And what is a woman to you?
A woman is a woman who embodies femininity, who embodies strength, resilience.
So femininity, so things typically associated with women, so stereotypes.
To fascist and sexist misogyny, and that's exactly what we stand for as a trans community. What was your other question?
Why are you both here today?
Trans rights have been taken away from us, but not only that, women's rights have also been eroded by all this.
Well, they've said that this was for women's rights. Why do you think that trans rights are being eroded because of the...
Never seen a more feminine hairline in my life. I'm genuinely starting to get worried about like middle-aged men in this country. Jesus Christ.
Law or the clarification in the law?
Clarification in the law allows cisgendered men to go into women's bathrooms unaccosted and say that they're trans men.
They can do that anyway. They've always been able to do that.
And they can do what the hell they like in there.
Just so everyone knows,
That's always been the case.
What is a cis man?
A cis man is someone that's identified as male at birth. That's not necessarily anything to do with his chromosomes, it's just his outward genitalia.
So his sex? His sex is male?
Yeah, but if somebody identifies as male and they were identified as male at birth, that's a cis man.
Does it bother you that trans women aren't allowed in women's spaces anymore, specifically women's bathrooms?
Yeah, it does. It's made my life more dangerous and everybody else's life here more dangerous.
In what way?
If you see most of the trans men that are here, they've all got beards.
Right.
A lot of them.
I hate this talking point. They can still go in the men's because men aren't scared of them.
a hench, they all take testosterone, they go to gyms, they'll go into a woman's bathroom, and as far as they're concerned, the husband will see a bloke with a big hairy bloke go into a woman's bathroom and go in there after.
Right. So yours is kind of the flip side argument that trans men are now allowed in, like, women's.
They always were. There aren't laws around bathrooms. If you're trespassing in a bathroom, that's not even like a legal fucking thing. You get kicked out. You might get barred from a business. Like, for fuck's sake, man. Like, do these people really think there's going to be a problem with, like, trans men going into men's toilets and men complaining? They're not going to care. They haven't been caring. That's why we never hear about trans men in the men's room, because none of them care. No one cares.
Spaces, but they are biologically female, right?
Nobody's talking about this. Absolutely nobody's talking about the fact that trans men exist. Trans men are just as vulnerable as trans women.
I often sometimes wonder why some of these people are like transition. Do you really think, are people really seeing this person? Oh yeah, there's definitely a woman. I just can't. I'm sorry. If I'd have seen this when I was younger, it might have put me off transitioning altogether.
It's all about trans women. You need to flip it. And women's rights have been eroded by J.K. Rowling. The first time...
J.K. Rowling, that known MP, that known person who has any power to change anything in the government. She gave money to For Women Scotland to help with their case. But ultimately it was the government that made all those decisions based on that. Because there was a problem with the Equality Act. Like, geez, you really need... We were talking about boogeyman in like an earlier thing. Like, this is the real boogeyman. It's J.K. Rowling. J.K. Rowling did 9/11, did you know?
Woman gets accosted or hurt in a woman's space is down to J.K. Rowling and her little hit mob. So, well done, J.K.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you've absolutely screwed it for all women.
So I see your sign, J.K. Rowling.
So says a man, wow.
Rowling with the Nazis. What's the kind of beef with J.K. Rowling?
What the fuck does this say? Stupid TERFs. You've made life worse. J.K. Rowling with the Nazis. Protect trans rights. Is that the best you could come up with? What Nazis does J.K. Rowling hang out with?
Rowling.
She's a TERF, and she has been reported hanging out with neo-Nazis. Okay. And she is, well, basically making life difficult for a lot of trans people, everyone that's trans.
A lot of the confusion might be is that people may not understand what it means to be trans. So what do you think is the reason for people...
Emotional support dolphin, got one.
...to become a trans woman or a trans man, as complex as it might be, if you were going to sum it up to some extent?
At the end of the day, we just feel like we're in the wrong body when we get born.
And the voice every time, man. I'm sorry, I can't take this seriously anymore. I just can't. You're born in the wrong body based on what?
Self included, I felt I was in the wrong body. I now feel much more euphoric in being a woman.
And we love all this like technical language. You sound like you've been groomed.
And at the end of the day, that's what being trans is.
So what would you say is the most important issue maybe facing trans people?
Safety. Like, I think it shouldn't be hard for us to go out and about and have to worry about, you know, being not allowed to do something or being attacked.
Sam Hyde is actually J.K. Rowling in a mask, maybe.
I'm afraid to travel through airports, which I do all the time now, because apparently now you have to be searched by the gender person that you were born as. Like,
no one ever thinks, does a female staff member, are they going to be comfortable strip searching male people? Maybe they don't want to strip search you. Did you ever think about that? No one ever seems to, because it's not about women, it's about men.
That's so crazy and so unnecessary.
Right, so just to clarify, are you a biological man but you identify as a trans woman?
Yeah.
Okay, so how do you feel getting searched by a man? Why would that be any different to, say, a woman searching you? Or?
Well, I mean, I've been trans for 7 years now. I've always been searched by women. It's like kind of going backwards and subjecting myself to like sexual...
Okay, you're just used to certain thing. There's not really an argument.
Harassment almost. Like, I mean, I know that they're, you know, they follow protocols and whatever, but it's gross. Like, you wouldn't ask a born girl to do that. I don't know why we're being asked to do that.
The flip side argument is that now biological men, trans women, can't strip search women. Do you think that's a positive thing for women?
Wait, sorry, say that again.
So now the law also is the flip side, so biological men, so trans women can't strip search female women.
Right.
You think that's a good thing?
I didn't know that was a massive issue. Like, how big is this issue really? Like, how many...
Well, how big is the issue of trans women getting strip searched either? How come it doesn't work both ways? Jesus Christ, man.
Trans women work in airports. Yeah. Like, there's just not that many trans people.
How many trans women are getting strip searched by men in airports now?
in theory.
Right, and you can also argue how many females are criminals that they do need to be strip searched, but at the same time, when it comes down to it, they might want to be searched by a man, not less than
it's such a minute issue. Like, it's really not as big as people make it be. Like, trans people make up such a small percent of the population. It's just something that is...
Yeah, but that goes both ways, does it not? So women should be forced to strip search trans women, even if they might not want to, or might feel vulnerable doing so. But like, on the flip side, it's such a small issue that a trans woman might have to strip search a woman. I don't know, man. We're somehow always managing to avoid thinking about how the women feel in these situations. It's crazy.
A hot topic right now. But like, I've never met any trans person that's ever been dangerous or uncomfortable. Like, it's just a tactic.
Yeah, plenty of other people have. And plenty of women are going to see people like this and not feel comfortable in the same bathroom as them. And I can see why. Like, Jesus Christ, I've seen this before, man. I've seen these bits before. Feels like low-hanging fruit. What do you mean by low-hanging fruit? These people are showing up to a protest to try and push their ideology. Why is that low-hanging fruit?
The argument is that, you know, women's space should be kept women only for the safety of women. Do you not think that having trans women in women's spaces is excluding them from women's spaces?
Like, shouldn't these people be considering that they might be used as low-hanging fruit and not talk to journalists? I don't know. They're choosing to talk to these people and spout all kinds of crazy crap that is only serving to, like, pique people further. People like this are like fucking peaking machines. And that doesn't reflect well on the wider trans community, plenty of whom were never down with all this crazy shit, and actually do just want to live their life, and probably do feel more scrutinized now. I think these kinds of people are a problem, quite frankly.
Is protecting them at all?
No, it's a right-wing dog whistle. I've been in women's bathrooms, I've been invited to parties.
Oh, God. Oh, man. And the other thing is, you talk about low-hanging fruit. These people are old enough to know better. These people own mirrors. These people can hear themselves when they speak. I don't get it, man. On the left, we've got someone that looks like you get the Saints Row characters, and you can hit random. And what will normally happen is you'll get some bizarre amalgamation of like a human being. Like some massive hench man with tits. Massive giant norks. That's what we're getting. Of course their arguments aren't that good. Well, yeah. But they're at protests. Wanting to tell the government how they should run things. So if they've got shit arguments and they're out here telling people what to think, to me that's a problem.
I've had drinks bought for me. I've been invited out. I have never had any hassle. I've never even been...
Yeah, why would they? Like, women are going to leave you alone. Even if they're uncomfortable around, they're not gonna say anything. They're not gonna like confront you. Because they're gonna be worried about what would happen. This is one of the problems. That's why they don't talk about trans men. Because if a man really feels like a trans man is in the wrong space, the man is probably bigger and stronger. And probably feels confident that they can handle themselves if that person takes it badly. Women don't feel the same way.
Argued with in a women's bathroom, right-wing media that are promoting this thing that trans women are a danger to men, to women, and we're not.
We love women so much we want to be one. You know, you can't say more than that. I don't want to be a man, so...
Oh my God. Listen, I'm not stealing Chad Logic's jokes. I'm not going to do that AGP thing again. But like, I don't know. Think about this for like more than a second, man. Think about this for a second. We love women so much, we want to be them. I don't want to be a man. Well, you don't have much choice in that, bro. And like, I'm sorry. I can't suspend my belief this hard. I just don't have that ability. To those that do, then more power to you. You're probably a very kind person. I just can't, man. I can't.
I become trans.
But some people argue about what is a woman. So what is a woman to you guys?
That is a gotcha question. So
I'm just curious.
Yes, we want to be women, but we won't tell you what we think women are.
No, I'm not answering that. No, that's a gotcha question.
A woman is who she thinks she is.
A woman is who she thinks she is. Meaningless. Nice.
And that's all there is to it. You know, there are women that want to be.
It's all low-hanging fruit. They make it too easy. Unfortunately, too many trans people make themselves look terrible by what they say. It's a real shame. So many in the community would hate me. Yeah, plenty of them do. Like, I wouldn't go near any of this kind of shit. Well, especially not now. Jesus Christ. They want to possibly recognize me, and I wouldn't be welcome there. But I don't want to be welcome there, because I think these people are crazy. I think these protests are ridiculous. They all show up and say the exact same shit, time after time after time. Things are going down now. Things are reversing. Acceptance of trans people is going down. Yet we're still all saying the same lines, the same shit, over and over and over again. It's just not convincing people anymore. But we're doing the same thing, thinking that things are going to change. It needs to stop. It needs to change completely. And these activist types need to shut the fuck up. Forever. Not forever, but... like, they're not helping the way they think they are. This is just making things worse.
Be men, and there are men that want to be women. So you can't say what is a woman, because that is the individual person's.
Well, how can you want to be something that you don't have the ability to explain what it is? If I want to be a rock star, I think I know what a fucking rock star is. I don't know, man.
Ideology of what a woman is. And I want to be the best woman I can be.
We don't all look like the...
Which is not a woman. Okay. What should trans people say? I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know what the solution is. What I do know is that people are sick of hearing trans women are women ad nauseum. People are sick of people that think that women can be boiled down to like stereotypes that in a different culture might not even exist. I think we should stop being delusional and face facts and just understand that your sex is what it is. And that we should leave like women's spaces alone. I think some of them should consider like how some women feel instead of just talking about themselves and just finding an easy out. Such as, oh, well, when it's trans women searching women, that's a niche issue, but trans women being searched, that's suddenly not a niche issue, which doesn't make any sense.
The stereotypical image. We have very masculine looking women who are cis, and they're going to be questioned going into bathrooms and things, and it's not.
Well, if you're a masculine looking woman, unfortunately that's just part of it. That's just part of what happens. If you're gender non-conforming and you go into a single sex space, yeah, potentially you're going to be questioned by people. That's just how it is when it comes to being gender non-conforming. Personally, I think we should normalize gender non-conformity and acknowledge sex as being what it is. I think that'd be much better and much less regressive than constantly deferring to sexist stereotypes and explanations of what a woman is that make no fucking sense. Because it can't make sense if it includes men. That's just how it is.
It's not going to be, it's going to affect all women.
Okay, so when you say cis women, they can also be biological men? Is that your argument? Or?
No. If just a cis woman who maybe has hormonal imbalance, facial hair.
Okay, but is biologically
female, yeah.
Would they want to be in a female space?
Hormonal imbalance, by the way, is enough for some people to think that you're intersex.
Yeah, because they're women.
That's fine then, no?
Yeah, but they will get stopped. People will stop them if they are not fitting that norm. Okay. And if they look, it's already.
Well, they might, but a lot of people are very used to seeing like butch lesbians around and stuff. It happens now and then. Is it that common? I mean, it's not good. But my answer is that I wish that we'd like normalize gender nonconformity instead of when someone's gender nonconforming, it means that they must be the other sex. Like, that's nuts. That's crazy. Butch lesbians do not like these men, look like these men in dresses. Not generally not, yeah. Like, it happens occasionally, and that's not good. But I'd rather we normalize gender nonconformity and stop treating it as, oh, you might be trans then. Because gender nonconformity isn't trans. Well, thank you, Cat Can. Thanks for watching.
Happening.
People make that argument for like butch lesbians and things like that, but
absolutely, that's what I mean. It's
yeah, like how often does this happen? We want to question how often trans people do bad things. How often are women like questioned? It does happen. The other thing is, how often would a woman be questioned? They respond, and the person realizes, and oh sorry, and then nothing happens. How often does that happen? If you're gender non-conforming, that's a kind of issue that you might face. You might have to make a decision whether you want to look more stereotypically women to avoid that, or accept the risk, you know what I mean? Because it is what it is. There's no, I'm not aware of people that have been assaulted. Like maybe there's been the odd case. I think I've heard of like one maybe where a woman's been like actually assaulted because someone thought that they were a man in the changing room or the bathroom. But again, that's extremely rare. And the answer to me is to normalize gender nonconformity.
You know, any woman going in, if you look slightly masculine, you're gonna. This whole ruling is opening it up that anyone can stop.
I think like half the time it is like common sense though, like to identify a woman. Like I think I'd get like 99% correct over here.
No, it doesn't make any difference. If for trans women, it's a trans woman is.
Yeah, how come I know this person is a woman and I knew that the earlier ones that we saw were all men? How come I just know that?
Woman, and if they want to use the toilet, then they're going to go into a cubicle, have a wee, come out.
Weird how they boil down the ruling down to bathroom policing. It wasn't about policing bathrooms. Well, the bathrooms are one of the few, like, kind of strong areas that you can argue from if you're pro-trans. Because truthfully, they're not very well enforced. You can't always tell 100% what sex someone is. So it's a strong point to argue from. And it's one of few that these people have. You know what I mean? So a great video by a butch lesbian said that when that happens in the bathroom, she just says, "Hun, I am a woman." Other women apologize. The lesbian says, "No worries." Yeah, I mean, a lot of the time, the person opens their mouth and speaks. That's enough. Well, a man wouldn't sound like that.
Out, wash their hands, and go home.
This one here, I fucking don't know.
That's what the...
What's the kind of argument then why trans women couldn't go into a male bathroom or male space?
Oh my god, it's Max. Didn't that just look just like Max? You probably don't know who Max is. He was some guy from this podcast that's still running, I think. It's called Trans in the Mouth these days. Like, called me a cunt about 20,000 fucking times when we were having a conversation. Amazing.
Have you seen trans women?
Yeah.
So, why would you want somebody that looks very feminine going into a man's...
Yeah, have you seen trans women? Why would you want someone who looks very feminine? Why would you want someone who looks very feminine? Have you seen trans women? Why would you want someone who looks very feminine going into the men's... Okay, I'm sorry. I feel like I'm being mean, but like, why say these things? It's preposterous.
Kind of argument then why trans...
I've seen a trans woman every day in the mirror for like 10 years or so. I just don't look that feminine. I'm sorry. I couldn't quite pull it off. I don't know, man. I'm one of the better looking ones, I think.
Women couldn't go into a male bathroom or male space.
Have you seen trans women?
Yeah.
So, why would you want somebody that looks very feminine going into a man's bathroom? It doesn't make...
The things they say, it's like, you must know. You must know. Come on, bro. Seriously, come on.
Sense. That's what doesn't make sense.
But they're biologically men, no?
No.
Do you think it will be difficult to police and enforce?
Right, can you imagine there's butch lesbians out there that are now going to be accosted in toilet?
Yeah, this has been happening anyway. How are we acting like it's a new thing? It happens occasionally anyway. It doesn't sound like in the vast majority of cases when it does happen that it's a big deal. And I mean, are you surprised? Are you surprised that a butch lesbian, aka a woman that looks very masculine, might get accosted in a female toilet? Is that not fucking obvious? Obviously that's happening anyway. Why are you acting like it's a new thing?
By other women saying, we want to check...
Like the belief systems these people show are like nuts. Completely crazy. And they want to tell the rest of the world how to be. It's just crazy.
Your genitalia.
There's only one way to police it, a hand down the bloody front. How else can you do it?
Well, it's going to be policed based on if a woman complains. And if you get asked to leave and you choose not to and make a scene, and then it becomes something that needs policing. In general, it's something that like a business should be able to deal with themselves. Like trespassing in general isn't even like a criminal offense, I don't think.
You can't assume that that's a woman because they got tits, because I've got tits. So the only way to
Yeah, you could get fat and also get tits.
Prove it is a hand down the front. Is it lumpy or is it smooth? End of.
At the end of the day, I just think maybe we should just have unisex toilets.
Yeah, and don't they sound like a woman when they talk? Like even the phrases they use, even the way they talk, the choices of words. I just don't buy it. I don't know how you'd get to that point in life and think, oh, I must be a woman now. It just baffles me, man. I feel sorry for these people in a way. But they're in this fucking thought cult. Like, I don't know. I think at a certain point, tough love is the only thing you can show to these people. They have to know how insane this shit is to most people. I'm trans myself, and somehow I can understand this. Michael Caine in drag. Hang on. Kinda, yeah.
To be done with, because we don't need exclusively female spaces or exclusively male spaces anyway.
Yeah, but there's a reason why there's, male sports, female sports,
He wants a hand out the front and he likes it, you can see. Jesus, maybe. Fucking hell.
Hey, what's that reason then?
Well, sports in particular? Yeah. Like, just the same reason why, men are typically faster, stronger than women.
Are they now?
Are men typically faster, stronger than women? Yeah, I think they probably are, bro. I think everyone with more than 12 brain cells in their head knows that that's the case, bro. Why is it that sprinting is segregated? What would happen if Usain Bolt went in the women's? He would destroy all of them. Even now, even though he's probably kind of old by this point.
No, that's just your perception.
That's retarded. This is what I mean. You want to tell me there's like low-hanging fruit. These people are so utterly confident about the most wrong shit. And they want to tell the rest of the world how to be. You'll see all these like stupid Antifa flags and stuff. I wonder if that's Sarah Jane Baker. I know she was there. He was there. Sarah Jane Baker, a person who, with his brother, tortured a kid. Like, strung him up and left him to die. Thankfully, he didn't.
Okay, so let's say, for example, tennis.
Why are you asking such ridiculous fucking questions in my chat? Should people who steal get the death penalty? Nobody thinks that people should get the death penalty for stealing. Why are you being a retard?
Serena Williams faced like Rafa Nadal. Who do you reckon would win?
Serena, of course.
Serena and Venus Williams once played back-to-back against a 200-something seed male tennis player. They both lost. Apparently he had like a cigarette between games. This person is delusional. And you want to tell the world how to be. You want to tell other people how to think.
Tennis. If Serena Williams faced like Rafa Nadal, who do you reckon would win?
Serena, of course.
You're absolutely insane. You're nuts.
I'm just being biased.
That depends on the day.
Okay.
That absolutely depends on the day. Serena.
It just gets worse and worse. It depends on the day. In general. Rafa is going to destroy her. Serena herself has said she wouldn't win. It's not fair because it's not relative to size. It's unfair. Yeah.
I'm just being biased.
That depends on the day.
Okay.
That absolutely depends on the day.
Does it? What do you know about sport? Fuck me. What are you even supposed to say half the time, man?
Serena Williams, Venus Williams could absolutely obliterate any male tennis player on the right day.
So what about all the 99 out of 100 wrong days? Would they lose? How many right days are there next to wrong days? Oh my god, it literally is. Can you see? Can you see just above me? You see where my chat is? That's fucking Sarah Jane torturer, almost murderer Baker. I can literally see him. This person right here, this person's name is Sarah Jane Baker. They were done before transitioning for like torturing a guy for like 24 hours, kidnapped him, left him to die. Someone like reported something and he got found. So that didn't happen. Thank fuck. This person is like disgusting. They got a bunch of like years added onto their sentence for like assaulting someone in jail. Like cut their own testicles off in jail. It's the trans rights and human rights person. Look, I'll show you. Yeah, the pink hair guy. Short, spiky pink hair. Doesn't look an inch like a woman, but calls himself one anyway. So this person, in 2023, at like a trans pride thing, they got up in front of the crowd and said, if you see a TERF, punch them in the fucking face. And then they got arrested the next day.
4:50 p.m. At this time, I'm placing under arrest on suspicion of inciting violence.
Yeah, why would someone answer a question of whether they want the death penalty for theft? Who's going to answer that shit? Stop answering stupid questions. See this person? See this person? There it is. That was the Antifa flag. I knew it. Someone's like chatting to her and like filming it. This person is like celebrated in these fucking spheres. He's a torturer, almost killed someone.
You do not have to say anything, but it may harm your defence if you do not mention, when questioned, something which you later rely on.
Kidnapped and tortured a teenager.
Court. Anything you do say may be given in evidence. The necessity for the...
Yeah, I've seen Pete Trans before. We have very different perspectives. I'm not anywhere near as much like feminist leaning, but I like her channel. Hey, by the way, like the stream. Make sure you like the stream. Scroll down. Maybe click on the like button like I'm doing here.
Arrested to conduct a prompt and effective investigation and to prevent any further attempted harm to yourself or anybody else. Have you got any response that you'd like to call?
Yes.
Okay.
Trans rights are human rights, one struggle, one fight.
That's okay, like...
Trans rights are human rights. I'm a woman, innit? Fuck off, bro. Go torture someone else, you piece of shit. Anyway.
Just because one's male, one's female. Doesn't matter. It's like, recently...
This person is a moron. How old are you? How do you get to this point in life and not understand basic differences between males and females?
Had the lady who refused in the fencing. Sorry, but that's a completely gender-neutral sport. You'll have women and men.
Completely gender neutral. So things like reach, where men tend to have longer limbs than females, don't matter at all. Might strength not be a factor, like fast twitch reactions, stuff like that.
Go up against each other all the time. Women will win, men will win, youth will beat adult. So she takes a knee because she wants to make...
Yeah, let's just make sports mixed, very feminist. Women are born, not worn. Yeah, true. You're absolutely insane.
Political standpoint. She paid $5,000 by a right-wing Christian group because she made a standpoint. Sorry, she did that just for financial gain.
Did she know that they were going to pay her? Did she know that they were going to give her money for doing that? I think she might have just been fed up of competing against males.
$5,000 by a right-wing Christian group because she made a standpoint. Sorry.
And like, why would anyone give a shit what you think when you think that men and women are completely fucking identical when it comes to like sports? And like strength and size and shit like that. Absolutely batshit. Why are you taller than most women you know? Well, you probably don't know any women, never mind.
She did that just for the financial gain.
With the UK now defining women by biological sex, transgender athletes may soon have to compete.
Okay.
Financial gain.
With the UK...
This is not a transgender athlete. It's quite possible this person has 5 ARD, which would mean that they're male and not female. However, they're not transgender.
Now defining women by biological sex, transgender athletes may soon have to compete based on their birth.
Which one is that? I think this person is a DSD as well. I think Wesley Winter could do with learning what a trans person is, quite frankly.
Sex. Just recently, the women's pool final in the UK was played out by 2 trans women, biologically male.
Like, I know pool isn't like, it's not the biggest difference maybe between men and women. There are still differences. And they've shut this shit down. It's happening. And this is preposterous. It's a women's tournament. And the 2 finalists are male. That's just crazy.
It raised the question, had it gone too far?
He's a man, and we stand with lit pictures.
With most men.
Yeah, and by the way, one of those pool players like sued a different pool league for not allowing them to compete. So now they will literally like sue people for not letting them compete with women. It's crazy.
Is that we are a threat to their masculinity. They don't like us because we've rejected...
Are you a threat to anyone's masculinity? What does that mean?
The masculine side and going towards our female side. Now, you can imagine, if we've rejected the masculine side and going towards our female side. Now,
yeah, there's a big difference between being a feminine male and whatever's going on here. You're somehow not feminized, except for the chest area. I'm not seeing it at all.
You can imagine, if I walked into a bathroom looking like this, a men's toilets looking like this.
It's like they know, okay, they know. There's no way they can say this shit. There's no way. I'm sorry, man. Like, if you might, through transitioning, end up looking like a bizarro Saints Row character, then why transition? I don't know, man. I couldn't do it myself. I couldn't do it. If I were to know that this is how I'd end up, I'd be like, no, fuck it. I'll just be a man. Fuck it. That's what I did anyway. I'm just, oh man, I'm baffled. I'm baffled. What are middle-aged men in this country doing? What is happening with some of you?
I'm just asking for trouble. You know, it only takes one obnoxious idiot to
This is your choice, though. You go into the women's. Are they going to be comfortable? Some of them probably won't care. Plenty of them were. Crocodile Dundee, Jesus. I know. Maybe if I saw him with a hat, I'd know.
It's like what I'm doing. Or
what if a woman did that, though?
A woman wouldn't do it. End of. So why should I? What I'm doing. Or
what if a woman did that, though?
A woman wouldn't do it.
A woman wouldn't what? Walk into a men's toilets. They do sometimes.
Looking like this, I'm just asking for trouble. You know, it only takes one obnoxious idiot to dislike what I'm doing. Or
what if a woman did that, though?
Yeah, women do go into men's toilets sometimes. Usually at like events where there's big queues. I went to see Radiohead. There were these women next to me in the queue for the women's, which was like 3 times longer. And I'm like, and they see me because I had long hair, because I was like 17. I was always kind of effeminate. And they're like, oh, that guy's got long hair. Let's just follow him into the men's. And they did. And no one gave a shit. Because we all know that the women's queue is extremely long. And that some of them are not going to want to piss in the women's in like an hour's time. So no one really gave a shit because they all knew what was going on.
A woman wouldn't do it. End of. So why should I?
So you don't even know because you don't understand women's experiences because you're not a woman. And why should you? Well, look in a mirror, bro. Listen to what it sounds like when you speak.
So I've just used the female toilets.
Like you just wonder what these people were doing before they transitioned. Probably some of them like had careers and shit, were like successful. And now look at you, I'm just baffled. It makes me sad.
Down at Waterloo Station. None of the women batted an eyelid when I walked in there. I've got no problem with going in the ladies' toilets. They've got no problem with me going in there.
Yeah, they didn't bat an eyelid because they're scared of you.
So I am not going to stop going in there.
A lot of male children going with their mothers into the women's bathroom. Yeah, the thing is, women are not likely to be scared of like male children. It's like the adults that they're worried about.
Unless one person, one woman in that toilet turns around to me and says, could you use another toilet? In which case I'll come out and I'll wait till she's done and I'll go back in there and say, anyone else object to me using the lid?
Jesus Christ. You want to make a confrontation about it. Why do they give off black cab driver vibes? I guess it's the accent. I guess they're from like the London area. Like they want to turn it into a confrontation. You're like daring someone to be the bad person.
In which case I'll come out and I'll wait till she's done and I'll go back in there and say, anyone else object to me using the lid?
I want discrimination rights, you know what I mean? Like everyone else has discrimination rights.
You have them. It's called gender reassignment. Actually read the verdict. Actually look into the Equality Act.
A gay guy can be a gay guy and be protected by that. Like now,
I would be scared of him because I can't read his intention. That's the thing. And that's the thing I thought when I saw the guy shaving in the women's locker room last year. Like you see someone like that, they're willing to break like a social rule of men go in this one, women go in this one, and do very male-coded things. What else are they going to do? You don't really know. You don't know why they're in there. It's weird, you know what I mean?
We're kind of illegally gay men again. Like, isn't that crazy?
When trans kids are under attack, what do we do? Stand up, fight back. When trans kids are
That's...
When trans...
Criminalizing identity is fascism. No one's criminalizing your identity. And you don't know what fascism is. I already know. Yeah, this one's definitely a bloke. Mess with her, answer to me. Yeah, you're not scary, so I don't know why you're Leave my little sis little. I don't know if that's what little means. Listen, I get it. This person is probably technically younger than that person. Leave my little sister the fuck alone. Listen, I have no intention of coming anywhere near or having anything to do with this person.
Trans kids are under attack. What do we do? Stand up, fight back.
Like, what is this?
When trans kids are under attack, what do we do? Attack. What do we do? Stand up, fight back. When trans kids.
Am I supposed to see this person and hear them and think anything other than this is a man with long hair? And by the way, before anyone says anything, people probably see me and think that all the time. And I don't care, because I am that. I don't care. Call me a man. I am a fucking man.
Kids are under attack. What do we do?
I've got the police. What's going on there? So I believe the protest is starting to move now. You see, you got a couple of trans flags over here. People are going to stay here, but some are also moving. A lot of people have told me that this kind of new law, or change in law, whatever you want to call it, will make it more difficult to identify who is a woman. But if you just look around, I think it has been quite easy to tell who is who. I don't really see the confusion that they are talking about, but
let's you see that person there, like the look she gave him.
It has been quite easy to tell who is who. I don't really see the confusion that they are talking about, but let's keep it going. Let's see what people have to say.
Yeah, free Palestine. It's like, what is it called? The constellation of beliefs. They have one progressive brain rot ideology. They got to have all of them. And like when I say like the Palestine stuff, I have a lot of sympathy for them, but a lot of these people are crazy. Like I feel like I can't say anything because I don't want to be like lumped in with like the average Westerner that talks about free Palestine. I just don't want to know.
And all toast to ask man.
Anyone else got a problem? He asked menacingly. Yeah, it's crazy. They have no idea. They don't understand how they come across. Which obviously they don't, because if they did, they probably would reconsider their life decisions. It's nuts to me. I don't understand at all. I'm sorry.
Hey mate, just documenting the event today. Like your sign. What does it say? I love being with my mother's daughter. So what's the reason for coming today?
It's a lovely day.
Yeah. How do you feel about the new law that now women means female, biological female?
New law. Even he's like, I don't know. He's not the brightest tool in the shed, brightest bulb in the box, whatever the saying is.
The poster up in like Oscar. It's not going to stop me doing anything.
Does it affect?
Hey, actually, kind of true, I guess. It's probably not going to stop you doing much of anything, which is why maybe we should stop going insane over this and see where the dust settles before losing your shit.
Before going into women's spaces, or it's bother you now that you have to go into a male space?
No, yeah, I didn't know. I'm gonna. My life is going to continue as normal. Thank you.
Cool. Good day. No worries.
And by the way, when we saw people like freaking out, like that Knots Online thing, that Katie Neves person losing her shit, you could just do what this person does. This is my statement. See you later. That's fine. You don't have to engage for any longer than you want to. Like, I think this person's nuts, but like, at least they're handling it a way that makes sense. You don't have to get fucking triggered at people. Just say what you gotta say and move on. You don't have to spend any more time than you want to talking to the man with the camera and the microphone.
So, wow. Yeah, guys, as you can tell, that man doesn't really care if he goes into a women's space or a male space.
He's brave, fucking hell. Little Breton character, Jesus Christ. I mean, Jesus. Am I trying to be nice? I'm probably not, but fucking hell.
It's what it is.
Not going to women's changing rooms isn't criminalizing trans people. Well, yeah, but they got to essentialize as hard as they can. The thing is, if they just like engage with the actual points, they might be wrong. So you have to change the point so it's something else and then tear that down. That's how these people operate. They've taken like Twitter logic into real life. People like them would get off that side of the internet for a week and they went outside. They probably realized things are fine. Oh, you think so? The pounds. Hi, Callie. I hope you're good.
I think it's disgusting that trans women aren't being seen as real women. We go through the
yeah, it's disgusting that people aren't accepting what we're saying.
Exact same thing that cis women do. My other reason is, as an intersex person of trans experience, where do you place me in the bathroom? I don't, like I was born with different...
Yeah, so many autists, you always wonder if there's some kind of eugenics program going on. Actually concerns me sometimes.
Characteristics to an average trans woman, where would you place me?
Yeah.
Are you going to put trans men in women's bathrooms?
Well, the thing is, by the look of you, you're probably going to be fine. Just use the women's, and someone really has a problem, then just get out. Like, just accept it. Trans men are going to continue using the men's because men don't care. And because trans men are more likely to pass. And even if they don't pass, men probably still don't care.
Rooms, is that what they want? It doesn't make any sense to me.
But by law, I think that's what's...
None of these people have ever thought about this. They've had these arguments in their head in the shower. Or with their other trans friends who all agree with them. So they don't have any actual answers to this shit either. Because they haven't ever spoken to someone they disagree with.
Going to happen now, isn't it? I mean, what do you plan to do?
What do I plan to do? I plan to piss wherever I want, which is the women's bathroom, and I will continue to.
Yeah.
Very feminine.
Do you think it's just down to bathrooms? So I mean, it could be others.
It's not just down to bathrooms, but I think bathrooms is the majority.
Like all of them are talking about bathrooms. That's one of the only strong places you can argue from, though. That's why they do it. Even though this is about the Supreme Court ruling, you can't engage with the actual thing. You have to talk about bathrooms.
The TERF's vote is bathrooms. I think that is the sacred space. It's crazy boots.
Well, one argument is that to do with actually women giving birth, and say if they ask for a female doctor, they could have a trans woman doctor.
Is the doctor certified? Yes, they are. Does it?
Yeah, but what does the woman feel? None of them ever talk about how the woman might feel. It's bizarre. It's almost like they don't really know how women feel because that's not the experience they've had in life.
No, it doesn't. So is your baby going to come out? Yes, it's fine.
What if she doesn't want a male doctor?
Healthy baby, it's totally fine.
Yeah, I think it's more for the...
Yeah, why would a male person feel less comfortable telling women how they should feel? I don't get it. Like, okay, you'll never be pregnant, so... What is the saying? No uterus, no opinion. I don't know, I kind of agree with that. I try not to tell women what to think about women's issues. I hope I don't anyway. I'd imagine I'd be told pretty quick. There's a fair amount of women that watch me.
The women's like preference, I guess.
I mean, great. If you want to specify and say, I want a cis doctor, then do that. But if you say, I want a woman doctor, if a trans woman comes...
No, you mean female. You don't mean cis, you mean female.
Don't act mad.
Yeah, also, like, come on, let's be honest. Like, everyone who has been in the NHS, people in the NHS are absolute heroes. No one is out to get you. You know, trans people make up less than 0.5% of our population.
Of a lady riding on the bus.
Oh, nice. We're vandalizing things. Apparently, they vandalize statues and all sorts. Which part do you think is eugenics? I have a bad feeling about that. Oh, the fact that so many of these people seem like mentally ill or special needs or autistic or something. I honestly do worry about some of that stuff.
After being reassured women have nothing to worry about, I spoke with someone who worked for the NHS. I mean, the big argument against trans people was that case, I think it was in Darlington, where the women had to get changed in the cupboard. How do you feel about women's spaces and trans spaces? Do you think they should be allowed in them?
I mean, I think it's really strange because it's been happening for years and 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 years. And there weren't any issues when people...
Suspicious voice, but benefit of the doubt.
Didn't know people were trans, whereas now that we're talking about it, people have issues.
Well, it's not just that people are talking about it. It's partly that. Visibility comes at a cost that we probably should have known about before we started pushing a lot of this shit, quite frankly. But hey, another problem is people believe now that they just identify as a thing and they are that thing, and they don't have to necessarily make any effort. As we've seen people very convinced of their identity. A lot of those people, they would have definitely been noticed in the women's, and it would have been a problem.
I find really strange is people aren't talking about the amount of cisgender women.
Okay, so instead we just change the subject. Oh, well, it's always happened. Has it always happened?
Harassing trans women in these spaces. It's becoming a bit of a problem, actually.
So by that you mean like biological females?
People who don't identify as trans.
Okay.
There's been a lot of situations with this. I'm sure you've heard about what happened up in Fife. Yeah, so a young lady didn't like that there was a trans woman in the changing rooms with her.
Okay.
So she did.
Yeah, I mean, even this person doesn't pass amazingly well. I can see why someone might be uncomfortable.
Decided to start harassing her colleagues, and obviously that's not really on.
Obviously, we don't.
I think it's accidental eugenics, but it may become intentional. Yeah, I'd agree. I'm not saying. Excuse me. I'm not saying I think it's like a concerted effort. I have no proof of that. I have no evidence, but it's just a very dark pattern I'm sensing.
don't want that, but I guess now, like, by definition, there's a law now, I guess, to say that they're not allowed.
Is that what has been perceived?
I think that's the argument now, isn't it?
I think that's where the confusion is. I think that's why a lot of people have come out today, because that's not the case, is it?
Yeah, so what's your interpretation of it?
I think my interpretation of it is that applies to that part of the Equality Act, which is actually referring to women with wombs, I believe. But obviously, it depends on what kind of media you want to read, or whether you want to read the actual transcript itself.
So if you have
hot take, women, especially feminists, also gaslight each other that men are far worse than they really are. Should we feed into that misandry as well? Well, I don't know what you're referring to. Truthfully, there's a reason why certain spaces should be single sex, because of things like criminality, because of the fact that men are more likely to be violent than women. Like things like sexual assault, the statistics go a certain way for a reason. And like when it comes to sexual assault, when it comes to a man having sex with a woman, the consequences are mostly on the woman, not the man. So it makes sense that they would need their own spaces. I need to see examples of like people going too far with like misandry, because I try not to. I can say that and still say, I don't think the average man is violent. I don't think every man should be treated as if he's likely to be violent. But these single sex spaces, they have to be that way because the criminality patterns are by sex. Trans women don't get an out. People pretend they get an out, because there's not very many of them. So there's not many stats around that kind of thing. But what you do find when you look at like Ministry of Justice stats and stuff like that, trans women are like overrepresented for like sexual assault. And I'm not even using that to say that I think trans women are more likely than men to sexually assault. I think the much kinder way of putting that is that, well, males and females follow different patterns of criminality. And then you get into other things like people's religions. We're a multicultural country, like it or love it or hate it, whatever. You've got some people, some women that can't be in certain spaces with men. You have to worry about that as well.
When a woman doesn't like define being a woman, basically.
I think it's difficult to understand when it comes to fertility care and maternity care.
A woman doesn't define being a woman, but pretty much to a T, no men have wombs. Maybe you get very, very occasional ones that do, because they have some parts of like female reproductive systems, but they also have a full dick and balls or something. Again, we're talking very vanishingly rare things like hermaphroditism, that kind of thing. You can basically generalize it as wombs, like women have wombs, men don't.
Obviously, it's relevant to people who are that. As someone who works for the NHS, I find it really uncomfortable when people say only women, because...
Yeah, I think you should consider getting over that myself. You can imply, if you're a trans man, and you're one of about 10 trans men that gets like pregnant, you can imply that when they talk about trans women, they're also talking about you. That's okay. You have to accept that if you're a vanishingly small minority, you're not going to be like included in every single like linguistic fucking category or whatever. Because you're like bucking the norm.
I find it a little bit worrying, because I've looked after lots of people who are 9 years old and pregnant, and we don't want to call them women.
9 years
horrible,
old?
Isn't it?
They're 9 and pregnant?
Yeah, it happens. And that's why when you start saying women, you're really throwing out a lot of people who that...
Well, I mean, what kind of point is this? That's not meant to happen, because that's very illegal to do. Like, what kind of point is this? Why are we so obsessed with inclusivity? Like, it's just bizarre. Like, I don't know. Weren't we talking about like trans stuff?
Really doesn't apply to.
So do you think having a penis makes you less of a woman?
I don't think so. No, I don't think that.
It does, but okay. Yeah, also they're female.
That those kind of things affect how you kind of exist in the world, really. I think there's certain things that affect certain people, but as soon as you start painting things with a kind of tar brush of this equals this, you start ignoring the nuance of our lives and our biology as well.
I mean, if some people don't understand it, how can you explain it to everyone so everyone has like a...
It's really tough. It is really tough. A woman without breasts is still a woman. So this is affecting not...
Well, yes, obviously. And a man with breasts is still a man. A man can get breasts just by getting fat.
Just transgender people, it's affecting everyone. And it really hurts me to see this, because I'm watching pregnant children be called women. I'm watching women choose to not...
I don't get this point, man. Then don't call a pregnant child a woman. We really need to let trans women in sports, or else we might miscategorize pregnant children. Hey, maybe. Hi, MF, I hope you're good. Pregnant 9-year-old and the problem is calling her a woman, get your priorities straight. Yeah, I'm like baffled. What women call little girls who've been raped women, I don't know. Like, I'd imagine like girls are categorized a little differently from women for hopefully obvious reasons. Like, I don't understand this at all. I don't know what the fuck we're talking about here.
Undergo life-saving mastectomies because they're worried that, oh, if I don't have breasts, I'm going to be less of a woman. That's not the case.
What's my thoughts on the man, woman, ladyboy distinction in Thailand? Is it a better alternative to a Western gender schema? I guess it is, because they're not pretending those people are a different sex. I can see why people wouldn't want the term ladyboy. But I don't know, like, you can use like trans woman and trans man. It's just don't be delusional and think that that's a different sex to what it is.
The longer the protest went on, the further I felt.
Like, I think really the right answer is you've got men and women and that's it. You might be gender non-conforming. That's fine. Normalize that.
From finding out what a woman is. As you can hear behind me, a lot of the people are saying trans rights are human rights, obviously.
You see what I mean? That they're just chanting the same shit they've been chanting for years and years. The shit isn't working anymore. People are tired of hearing this. No one has any idea what trans rights or human rights is even supposed to mean.
All the people here have the same rights as a biological man or a biological woman, depending on their sex, but they feel they have their own rights which aren't being listened to, or they don't have any. I have no idea, to be honest. So we just entered this park, and I think this is where the protest is going to come to a standstill. So they've said that trans people make up about 1% of the population, but it seems like everyone who's in the community is
I think it's more like 0.5.
Actually here today. As you can see, it's pretty much filled this part of this park.
Ironically, they can identify a woman when it's this woman with a womb, because 9-year-olds get pregnant, we can't use pregnant women. Hold on, women without breasts is still a woman, bigotry. Yeah, it's all over the place. I'm not entirely sure what point that person was trying to make. A lot of the time, they're not really making any kind of point. All they're doing is like trying to confound the issue, make it complicated, make it confusing, when it doesn't have to be. Thought terminating cliche, yes, indeed. It's like cult shit. It sounds like a cult mantra. But we're fine with that, I guess. Because we are a cult. Well, we aren't a cult. These people are a cult. Me and all the other trans people that can't be asked with this shit are not a cult.
Let's remember that the fight for trans rights is one and the same as the fight for a free Palestine, for free healthcare for all.
There we go. The whole free healthcare for all, that doesn't exist anywhere. You hear Americans like push for this kind of thing, and you realize that is way more radical than any fucking European country. Have a good one, Kat. Thanks for watching.
For decent housing.
And we get all the leftist progressive slop talking points all in one. I spent years wondering why things like communism had anything the fucking to do whatsoever with trans. Like all our memes and shit. It's all like crazy leftist shit. Things about murdering landlords and stuff like that, when I'm like, I'm a fucking letting agent, man. Well, I was at the time. It's crazy. It's crazy. There's no such thing as free. That is generally the case, yeah.
Our rights can only be secured by the defeat of the British capitalist state through socialist revolution.
No one wants this. Socialism is a really, really fucking niche thing. No one wants it. Do you not remember Jeremy Corbyn? He did probably better than I'd imagine he would have done. He wasn't even like pushing like really like an overt like socialist like thing. People didn't want it. The track record of like Marxist fucking states is terrible. It's so like ridiculous. And what's this got to do with like trans rights, socialist revolution? Although I don't know, we were watching Mooncat earlier, who apparently thinks that socialism will cure fucking climate change. Was it socialist? I don't know if it was socialist. I thought it was liberal and then it became neoliberal. I don't think we've ever been a socialist country. And people will claim places in Scandinavia are socialist when they're not. They take on certain like socialist principles. They're still capitalist.
This is proven daily by social Socialist Cuba.
Yeah, Socialist Cuba. Wasn't there a point in time where the people there had power for about 9 hours a day? Don't they have like doctors that moonlight as like cabbies to make ends meet?
Trans liberation is no slogan, but an active process.
So the lady behind me wants
trans liberation is meaningless.
Britain to be like Cuba, a communist state, and apparently everyone here agrees with it. Very interesting.
From migrants beaten and...
Yeah, this only makes things worse. And people, I hope people understand that this isn't about trans people. Trans people aren't generally down with this shit.
Starved at the borders.
So I see a sign, trans rights or human rights.
Yep.
What's the reason behind the sign?
I mean, it's self-evident. It's so obvious. We're not just
talking. I mean, they won't even explain the stupid slogan. No one knows what this means, bro.
Talking about rights for trans women here. We're talking about rights for cis women as well, non-binary people. Everyone who doesn't conform really is going to be harmed by the Supreme Court ruling.
I identify as a woman, and so if someone were to tell me, oh, well, then use the men's bathroom, that's very disrespectful.
Right, so yeah,
why? You're male.
What do you say to those people who say, yeah, use the men's bathroom?
Well, no.
They're going to stop me using the toilet.
Liberation from what? I have no idea. Is meaningless. They don't want to assimilate, which is like, well, why do you want rights in a society you don't want to assimilate into anyway? Ridiculous.
That I feel comfortable in. This is like a tiny little stone at the top, rolling down and starting a possible avalanche.
Right. You said you go into women's spaces because you feel comfortable. What if that is at the expense of women who feel uncomfortable?
So women who feel uncomfortable with trans women are in the vast minority. Okay. The majority of women say they do not feel uncomfortable with trans women, but they do feel uncomfortable with...
All you need for capitalism is a free market. Well, then those countries are capitalist because that's the mode of distribution of things. I think you're being pedantic, to be honest.
Like cis men, the rate...
Men don't have a right to be women. That is actually true.
Of sort of violence against women by trans women is the same as it is for women versus women. We are not men.
Is that true? Where's your stat for that? Why is it that trans women are so overrepresented when it comes to incarcerated, like, sex criminals?
We're just not like that.
I'm a woman. I don't exactly present myself in a masculine way. I'm not exactly, this isn't a drag act.
Okay, so because you wear certain clothes and have certain hair, that makes you a woman? So that's what a woman is, it's just certain fashion choices?
Or anything, this is who I am. I don't do it for the lull of it, I do it because I hate being perceived as a man.
Noises.
Oh, thank you so much, Jammy Dodgers Rubber Balls. Thank you for the $10.
How do you make sure that you are a woman and you're not perceived as a man? What makes you the woman that you identify as?
Just the way I present myself. I began my transition in 2021.
Okay.
And I've been presented female ever then, so it was a change in styles mainly.
Yeah, change in style mainly. The people talk about reducing women down to certain organs when talking about their sex characteristics, when talking about their biological reproductive role. But you're not somehow reducing women down to certain style choices. Got it.
I think I grew my hair out and things like that.
So does it come to the clothing and style of hair at the end of the day?
That's not all of what...
See, by that logic, this man has transitioned into a Pidgeotto.
What makes a woman? A woman can be anything. Sure. There are so many different ways you can present yourself. But I don't see how I particularly am portraying myself as a man to the people who may believe in systemic.
There isn't such thing as portraying as a man. You're male.
Binaries.
So for you, you're doing as much as you can to present yourself as a woman and be a woman, so therefore you are a woman.
Because that makes me feel happy.
But what makes you not a man, if someone was going to argue that?
What makes me not a man is the fact that I'm a trans woman. I have always been a trans woman. It's not something I sort of like decided one day that I was going to be. It was something that
I think I do get you, actually, Neo Daedalus. Like, they're presumably blaming the lack of government intervention. I think I get what you're saying. Was the Wicked co-star trans? Well, she's non-binary, so technically, apparently, that is trans.
I came to understand about myself.
Come on, this guy looks like an Asian Pidgeotto. Come on. It's just true.
it's always been the way that I have been.
But why trans before the women? Why not just women?
Because there has to be some delineation. Don't get me wrong. I understand where my...
Hey, semi-sane trans protest attendee. Well done, well done.
Biology started, and my gender is not in my biology. My gender is here in my head.
So this is pseudoscience.
It's in my personality, it's in my person. It's immutable. I can't change my gender. That's why
Gender is not immutable.
Had to transition because...
Gender is a social construct.
My dysphoria between where my gender is, where it is in my head, and the rest of me was totally different.
I am just a woman at the end of the day, but yes, I am a trans woman as well.
Right, so if you had to go into a male bathroom now, or a male space now, how would that make you feel?
I wouldn't, because I'm not a man.
Okay.
If someone told me to, I would, but I'd just leave.
You just leave, okay.
Yeah, because that's a space where they don't accept people like me, so why should I accept them?
Well, some countries have labelled gender dysphoria as a mental illness. Would you support that?
Well, yeah, some countries have, but then again, some countries still stigmatise gay people. You know, just because a country says it doesn't make it right.
Don't you just love the patriarchy? Because without trans women, feminine woman, human male stereotypes will never go away, and that's a win in my book. Yeah, fucking hell. Well, I mean, I don't know. I think gender and like stereotypes and stuff is fine. It's just kind of a thing that happens. I don't care about the gender in his head. Yeah, you do have to kind of extrapolate. Well, then why would you care more about what gender someone thinks they're in their head versus what their sex is? And why are we even comparing the two? Sometimes your sex is what matters in a situation. And then you'll be treated like a man in those situations. And that's fine.
Right. And yes, absolutely. For a long time, it was considered a mental illness.
How is it not a mental illness? Well, technically being trans is like an identity or whatever. And the mental illness part would be gender dysphoria. I know.
To be transgender, but then again, we moved on. We understood it better. You know, there were empirical studies. There were...
Like, this person's talking utter bollocks and has clearly drank the Kool-Aid, but they're at least a little more sane than a lot of the people we've heard from. And like, they're making an effort. Like, they're dressed fine, I don't know.
You know, lots of trials about this. No one comes to this and goes, oh yeah, one day I'm just going to do this. It took me 10 years of my life to go from the start to the finish. Right. That's A, not a phase, and B, it's not something I do unseriously. It is a huge part of who I am, and I don't do it for anybody else. Sure. This is not for other people, other trans people, whatever. This is me. This is for me and myself only.
So now that you've transitioned, can you give birth?
No, I can't give birth. Okay. Not yet. Not yet. No, that might be coming.
Not yet. No, it's not coming. No, stop with the fucking fucking womb transplant memes. Please stop watching Poppy and Xena, I beg you. It's not gonna happen. It's Frankenstein shit. We don't need to literally start replacing women, taking drugs and inducing trilk, having womb transplants and having someone else's baby. Just stop. Please stop with that, I beg you. No more trans womb memes. No more Poppy and Xena bullshit, please.
They had the first baby of a transplanted womb recently. Who knows where that's
going into a woman.
Going to take us. My experience of
how's a baby going to come out of like a tiny fucking male pelvis? Crazy. There was a podcast KJK was on recently where they spoke about some Barclays events where there was both male, female, unisex toilets. All the trans women use the women's toilets. Unisex don't affirm them. Yeah, that's true. That's one of the problems. Like, I think unisex is a good idea. Oh, Poppy and Xena is a YouTube channel who... They have this adult child who they abused for years, apparently. Absolute crazy rabbit hole. I think there's a guy called Goddammit Malcolm on YouTube who's, like, talked about this kind of stuff extensively, like those two. So, I don't know. If you want to know about these utter degenerate freaks, I guess check his channel out. Because I've only watched a couple of things. I think there is a video of on my channel of me reacting to Poppy and Xena talking about womb transplants. And it's the most crazy shit, man. These people are insane. But yeah, with like the, I'll use a gender neutral toilet. I don't care, but like, people that aren't affirmed by it, and it's about affirming their feelings. It sucks, unfortunately. It's just how it is. I honestly wouldn't mind if Troon gave birth first, because that shit's painful, but they're gonna ask superior as usual. Maybe, I don't know. I think we don't need, like, men to literally replace women in every single thing they do. If it's an identity, how can they get medical coverage? Well, because they have the mental illness that is attached to or associated with the identity.
Transitioning and realizing started 12 years ago or 13 years ago, but it took me a very long time before I started going, okay, this is the rest of my life.
But how do you know you're a woman now?
I know.
But is there something specific you have to look for, or is there a certain moment something happened?
There is no one way to be a woman. There is, look at all the people.
Oh, the editing is a bit evil at times. I can't talk. I've been talking shit on some of these people for sure.
Here and tell me, that if there are any cis women specifically who go, okay, fair enough, that is a woman and this one is not, or something along those lines. It's not a specific thing. My womanhood is how I feel.
You want to know one of the things that really changed my mind about a lot of this stuff? I realized womanhood is just not something I can attain. I started thinking about what womanhood I've actually achieved, having been trans for so long. I came up with nothing. What womanhood can you take on? What even is womanhood if a male can take it on?
It's how I identify. Okay, fair enough. I identify as that, but that's who I am.
Yeah, and we're doing like the attack helicopter memes. Just, well, I identify as this thing that I will never be, whatever I do. Literally, we've just embraced the attack helicopter memes.
I am not a man.
Sure, so having a penis doesn't make you less of a woman?
No, it doesn't. And not.
Okay, maybe I spoke too soon calling this person sane. Oh man, it's grim, man. It's so grim.
Having a penis doesn't make you any less of a man. Right. So, no.
So could I become a woman if I felt like becoming one like tomorrow?
No.
But you can become one, why can't I?
Because this isn't a case of making a decision to be... sorry, let me clarify that. This isn't a case of anyone making a decision to be.
No, it is. You decide to be trans.
Yeah. There are sort of trans women, I put them in sort of like inverted commas, who go, no, I'm just a man in a dress.
Have I achieved manhood either? No, it's just innate to me because I'm a man.
No, they're not trans women. They are men in dresses living their lives as women. Fine. If they're dressed. No.
Okay, sure. Listen, this is what makes you happy. Then go on, Queen.
They're not trans women. They are men in dresses living their lives as women.
Yeah, there's no distinction between those. It's all about identity, but you can't show identity.
Fine. If they want to do that, that's fine. But they are the
crocodile trans D. Oh my god. Hi, Bad Wolf. I hope you're good.
Tiniest minority.
Well, what if I say I'm not a man in a dress and I wear a dress and put on makeup? When does it come a point to say I am a woman?
Well, it's got to be earnestly done. If you did it tomorrow...
Yeah, so the person, you just have to believe what they say. So they can't be lying and they can't be wrong, even though people detransition, meaning they were wrong. Are the tariffs on decent poster board or something? I don't fucking know. I don't know. I don't really relate to any of these people, so I couldn't tell you. I've never been down with this. Listen, I used to be way more woke than I am now. I've never been down with like the protest culture and stuff. It's a specific kind of person that goes to these. And they probably go to most of them. You get some here for just the trans thing, but there'll be plenty of people that are speaking at the trans one, and then speaking at the Palestine one, and then speaking at the fuck capitalism one or whatever shit they do. It's just such a waste of time. Do any of these actually change anything?
And then decided not to be further down the line, like, it's a good faith or a bad faith thing to do. If you decided it tomorrow, there needs to be a bloody good reason.
Yeah, so how do you tell the difference? You can't. So how do you like build like a rights system around what is completely unobservable and any of these people might be wrong about? How do we know this person won't detransition one day? Who knows? You never know.
Why you were choosing to do that, and I don't mean like a bad faith one or sort of like one that is dangerous or criminal.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't do any of that sort of stuff. I just I had to find myself, and like I said, I did this for me. I didn't do this for any reasons.
Find yourself. Are we too obsessed with finding oneself? You know what I mean? Are we too obsessed with gazing into our navels and trying to find something that might not even be there? Are we too obsessed with having an answer to every single thing that we're unhappy about and wrong about? Is it necessary? I don't know, man. I don't know. I've peak transed so many times now that it's just a tired feeling at this point.
I just did it for me.
Well, what if I said this conversation between me and you inspired me to become a woman? Would that be enough reason to do so?
There would have to be a very good sort of like feeling for yourself.
In the end, who told you are a woman in the end? Because, like you said, you have to go through with it and you have to be dedicated.
Do many people honestly feel this way about their sex? Is it not just, this is just what I am? Is that not like all there is to it? This just works completely differently for like trans people than like so-called cis people. It feels like.
To it, so
therapy and
the Women's Scotland group had some success. I'm sure they did some protests. Yeah, but what happened really was like it was the legal thing, wasn't it? And they had funding. And they were able to identify a problem in the Equality Act. That's why they did it. They could have done that without protesting once, I would have thought. I need sunlight. I get sunlight occasionally.
And a therapist suggested
I live in Britain. There's never any sun.
Try the label.
Okay.
And given that at that point I identified as a transvestite plus, which as far as I was concerned was a transvestite, but it was more than the clothes, when they suggested that to me, it made a lot of sense.
So at the end of the day, to get clarification, like the seal of approval, it has to go through a therapist to become...
So it is about wearing clothes, but then feeling a certain way. Okay. That doesn't make you a woman.
A woman?
I mean, that's a good idea.
Okay.
Like I said, this is ridiculously complex and very politicized and difficult medically and...
Yeah, who's politicizing it right now? Instead of just understanding that there's been a change in like a part of a definition in the Equality Act. And like maybe just see how like the dust settles. Instead, we're all politicizing it further.
Psychologically, therapy is a very, very good idea.
It has been so. Listen, I left the house earlier. We went food shopping. We went down the road and bought some food. I've had sunlight today. Excuse me.
To help you make a decision and to find yourself.
Yeah.
But at the same time, no one can tell you that sort of thing. You're going to have to come to it on your own. And once again, it's not something you can, like, one day just go, having never thought about it previously, just go...
Listen, I guess technically I'm a transvestite plus, because in addition to wearing women's clothes, I also had, like, surgery and take hormones. If someone wants to call me that, they fucking can. In a way, it's kind of better, because I'm still acknowledging my sex.
No one does that. Well, I've never met anybody who's done that.
Well, I still don't get it. How do you know, like, in the end, like, how do you know you've come to the point that it's womanhood or I'm a woman?
How do you know you've matured from being a boy to a man? How do you know that you've, changed?
Well, you've grown a certain amount. You've gone through puberty. Largely, it's like culture bound, but that's not really the same as sex, is it?
One stage of your life and reached another.
Sure.
These things aren't arbitrary.
Typically, everyone who doesn't die before their time goes from child to adult. That's a natural, normal process. On the other side, a man doesn't naturally become a woman or vice versa. Oh yeah, we got some fish and chips. We got some beans on toast. I'm joking, I hate beans. I don't know. I don't know what other shitty British food there is, because I don't really make British food. We normally have like Asian food and like Italian food and stuff. Because I'm into cooking. I'm actually quite good at it.
These aren't defined in that particular sort of way.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, it would be lovely if it were. It would be so much easier. This could be so much more easily proved.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, if you look at where we are and what sort of effect we have on the world, essentially, we are...
Yeah, you're causing confusion and problems, and instead of just accepting that you are what you are, and that kind of precludes you from certain spaces and certain things like women's sports, you're protesting against that.
Tiniest proportion. We are not a menace. We aren't a danger to anybody, except possibly ourselves occasionally. And yet we are treated like criminals. We are treated like...
You're not being treated like... Why are you here today? It's because of fucking ruling changed the definition. It's got absolutely nothing to do with whether you're a criminal or not. Who's treating you personally as a criminal? You get some retards on fucking Twitter and shit like that, who probably are saying that kind of thing. Well, fuck them. Who cares what they think?
Dangerous people, when the facts literally do not support that theory. If they don't support that theory, you can't just throw that accusation at us and legislate us out of existence just because you had a bad...
Yeah, see, the thing is, I caught myself cooking one day in a kitchen And I was like, oh shit, that's woman shit. I must actually be a woman.
That's bullshit.
So that was quite a long conversation with that trans woman man.
Wait, what's bullshit?
Because you have that theory, you can't just throw that accusation at us and legislate us out of existence.
That's not what they're doing. Again, all of this rhetoric is just nuts. Like, this is crazy. I'm sorry, man. It's not gone in your favor. There's not people legislating you out of existence. It means that in certain circumstances, your sex matters, and your sex is what it is as male. We have to change it. We have to extrapolate all this shit that no one is saying, except for crazy people on the internet who shouldn't be listened to in the first place. It's almost sad in a way. Like, this person doesn't seem stupid. They've been radicalized. This is one of the things that I speak out about. How over-radicalized trans people are. To where we'll do these protests. Because the Equality Act has favored sex in certain specific instances. In the wider sense. In, like, broader fucking interfacing with society. For the most part, your sex doesn't matter. And if you want to go around being male, but appearing feminine, and being thought of as a woman by people, that's kind of fine. There's just certain things where sex matters. And instead of protesting this, just see what happens. Just see where the dust settles, you know?
Just because you had a bad feeling, that's bullshit.
So that was quite a long conversation.
I don't quite understand what the ending bit was, but I understand what they're saying.
With that trans woman man,
I don't think lots of people want socialism in the US. I don't think lots of people want Marxism in the US. I think plenty of people on the internet say they do. I think those kind of extremist ideologies are like overrepresented in the internet. But who are you getting in power that is going to further that in the US? I don't think it's popular at all. I think it's a niche thing that isn't even that big anymore. It was a lot bigger a few years ago, I think. I don't personally believe that lots of people want socialism.
I understand how you actually become a woman. He said, I can't become a woman, so I don't know who told him he can become a woman.
MS-13, I don't know what that is. Hang on. Ooh. Okay, it looks like a American thing, so I'm guessing not. Although we like to copy the Americans and everything they do, so maybe it is a thing over here, who knows?
Still don't get it. Apparently you have to like dedicate your life to it. You can't just decide overnight. I don't know if there's like a woman god who summons everyone to become a woman, but yeah, apparently not. Therapist is one argument he mentioned. Yeah, very, very complicated, guys. The argument is that, you know, women's spaces should be female only. What's your argument to say that trans women should be in their spaces too?
Okay. If you switch it around, so if you want female spaces and biological females, then trans men are going to come in your space.
Oh, it's always this one. Listen, how many times have I answered this stupid point? I'll do it again. Men aren't scared of trans women. Men aren't scared of trans men. Men aren't bothered by women coming into the men's room because they can handle themselves. Women don't always feel the same.
You don't think trans men are going to deal with nothing, but have you seen trans men?
I have, like, even here today, though, like, the proportion...
You're going to let trans men come into your space.
But the proportion today have been trans women. Like, I'd like to see the stats on, like, the different, like, you know, how many are trans women, how many are trans men. Yeah. It seems like you don't see that many. Would you say that? Right? It seems like you don't see that many trans men. Would you say that?
There's many trans men. I've come across like a lot of trans men here. Yeah. I mean, we're not like, we're all like here together. Like, there's a group called Boys Against, like, Boys for Dolls.
Boys for Dolls? Okay.
I know. I know. No, bye. Bye.
Okay, clocked. We're gonna see our friends from the Resistance GB video soon. They actually ran into each other, I think.
So I know.
Yeah, I wonder if Islam has many verses in the Quran about trans rights.
And walks off, but yeah, no idea what half these people are banging on about. Say, well, some guys on the drums, people are doing all sorts of stuff. Maybe she identifies as a bird. So basically, this was just a protest, a trans protest against the law that now women means female. Obviously, we've seen so many cases in the UK.
It's not even a law. Like, I wish he'd like get this shit down before he does this. It is a bit irritating. If you're going to show up to these protests, you should know your shit.
UK, where people have been suspended from their jobs. I know there's a case with the NHS worker who was suspended by calling a trans woman a mister. I mean, how far was it going to go? But now, with these laws, people can have a bit of common sense and just say what they think. Don't steal our rights. So, yeah, that's been the kind of message today, how people are feeling. They feel their rights are being taken, even though they have the same rights as their biological sex. Make it make sense.
Nothing to do is that you get a lot of...
At this point, I was actually done filming for the day. Here I am literally filming a tree, a sign on the tree, but some people had a problem with that. Right, mate?
Here we go. Jay and Silent Bob.
What?
And he took two.
So have you got a problem with me standing here? Just walking around in a public park? I don't think they had anything better to do, or they just thought they were superheroes with these flags. Even when I decide to sit down, they still follow me.
Hello. How are you doing?
Yeah, circle time. I'm just saying that you can go somewhere else if you don't want to be filming me.
There you go.
Oh, you guys have COVID?
Got a little peephole there for you.
There we go, mate. So see ya.
Jay and Silent Blob, more like.
Go, mate. So see ya.
That's quite funny.
I wouldn't get to. He's a nasty man. Okay.
Oh, okay. So you know I'm a man?
He's a fascist.
Oh, okay, yeah. Hi guys, so apparently I'm a fascist according to these guys here. Let me know in the comments, do you think...
It's a bit late hiding your face. These people are fucking cringe.
Think it's normal to just follow someone around the park?
Like these guys were following that woman from Resistance GB.
Who you'd never met or spoken to. So you guys my new mates? 4 new best friends? There we go, guys. Let's talk to Jesus. There we go. That might help. Come on. Come on, guys. Let's talk to you. Let's be kind. It's Easter weekend. Oh, I love one, mate. Thank you. Alright, guys. I'm getting walked out of the...
See, you can always count on the church. There you go.
There we go, mate. There we go, guys. I'm getting walked out of the trans rights activist protest. These guys are following me all the way around. It's Easter weekend. People, promoting Christianity, but these guys don't want to listen. Left and right, health and safety. And they even continued to stalk me outside of the park. This is completely normal behaviour. There you go, mate. Mate, I want to take a picture of all my mates. Nice portrait. Oh, wait, 1-0, 1-0. There you go, mate. Come on.
I will hit.
Yeah, try it, mate.
Gay and Silent Blob. There we go. We nailed it. Finally. Took long enough.
I'm actually confused. Are you actually looking at it?
No, they just want to follow me around. Yeah, they just can't get enough of me today.
Okay. How long has it been going for?
For past 20 minutes, I'd say. Let's have a look.
Yeah, because the Resistance GB lady also spoke to the cops, and they're like, well, one of the other ones. I'm not a Christian, no. One of the other ones was saying, oh, if you're a fascist, we'll punch you. And then people kept calling her a fascist, which to me sounds like a bit of a setup, but sure. She wasn't actually punched, thank God. And like the police didn't seem to mind the fact that these people were following like a woman around like crazy.
Yeah, past 15, 20 minutes.
Do you guys want to talk to me? I mean, I know you say you don't want to talk to cops, but do you want to have a chat? Or no?
Why would you run? I mean, what the fuck are these people going to do? He's going to show that they're following them. Get this on camera. This is going to look terrible for them. Like, this is the second time they've done this. There's other videos of them doing the same thing to other people.
Okay. Because I'm a bit concerned, thinking, what's going on? Why this guy's of interest to you? Oh, that's fine. Let me do the favour as well. That's fine. It's 319 Charlie Oscar. It's fine. You can take your videos. You can take your pictures. I'll take your video as well. So we can all take pictures of each other.
Why are the cops going to give a shit about someone filming them when they've got fucking body cams on?
Oh, yeah, I'm just trying to work out what's going on here.
Why are they following you then, particularly, mate?
I was just asking questions today, and then they just randomly came up to me, and I don't know why. Maybe they got something against me.
Here's another thing, by the way. People love to complain that trans rights protests never get any coverage from like the BBC and shit like that. But then when journalists show up, they're incredibly hostile. Maybe there's like a through line there. Maybe there's a reason Maybe there's a reason there. I don't know, man.
Want to follow me about? Yeah. So I was just walking down this public pathway. They decided to follow.
Wait, did you just call him sir and then say, "Oh, sorry, I take that back"?
Follow me down the public pathway as well. Block me with their cardboard signs.
Okay. And they only do it like X.
So you haven't done anything to them?
I haven't. Yeah, I don't know who they are.
Offensive.
And I got it all on camera, so yeah. I mean, have I done anything wrong to you guys? No? Okay.
By this point, I believe you can walk on.
Yeah, was that the what was her name? Fuck, the statue.
I believe you can walk on.
Yeah, like look at this. Fag rights. Is that worth defacing a statue for? What the fuck is this? They think they're vigilantes and they're out of breath from walking. Yeah. Fucking hell. That's the best way, I think. Just walk them in circles endlessly. Eventually they'll get fucking knackered. 2 streams in a row where a group of weirdos followed around a cameraman trying to bully. Yeah, it's the same people as well. Exact same people. Those people are just fucking thugs, I guess. Well, they think they're thugs, but they're not. But yeah, what was this statue called? Was it Millicent Fawcett? Or am I pulling that out my ass? I don't know. Yeah. Yeah, that's what it was. Suffragist leader. Crazy. That's what they really think of women's rights, I guess. Nice. Classy.
Well, guys, I spent some time at the trans rights activist protest. Obviously, everyone we spoke to wasn't too happy, and if you have opposing views, they'll call you a Nazi.
If you're protesting, why wouldn't you want people recording? Isn't the whole point to get your message out? You'd think so. But then, I mean, they know that people like this have, like, opposing viewpoints. And I guess they think, because they're all paranoid as fuck, that these people are gonna, like, make people look silly. But I mean, I don't know. If your like, ideology sucks, then people talking to you is gonna make you look stupid. That's just how it is. Wouldn't it be better that people are at least civil and friendly? So they can say, well, it's not like we were, like, rude to you or anything. We just answered your questions. What's your problem? I think that would be a better look, you know what I mean? I suppose they hate the suffragists, because the suffragists were the moderate ones, weren't they? And the suffragettes were more radical. I think. I can't remember too well.
Nazi and a fascist. This is the aftermath of the protest.
Like, why do this? Like, we've got the anarchy fucking shit. Like, I don't know. I'm sure there are anarchists out there that have a brain between their ears. All of the ones I've come across, they're like Peter Pan syndrome as fuck.
We've got graffiti on here, trans rights or human rights.
I think of someone like Demon Mama, for example. She was pushing a lot of that shit. Absolutely incoherent bullshit.
He agrees. So now it's law here in the UK that women means female. Obviously, the majority of people knew that already.
Yeah, in the Equality Act.
Obviously, some don't, but then that was a clarification.
It is definitely true that people on one side are, like, seeing more than there is to this. But the problem is, we're seeing, like, both sides of the coin, unfortunately.
In the law. So this was London. This was a trans rights protest. I'll see you for the next one.
Frank Hassel. Yeah, jeez. We need some Frank Hassel. Listen, if you're, like, really against all this shit, what you need is as many people as possible just to show it with microphones and cameras. Preferably men or, like, women that can handle themselves. You need more and more of these people. Not to intimidate anyone, not to harass anyone. Don't do any of that shit. Someone doesn't want to talk to you, leave them alone. But at the same time, yeah, you need more of these people. Get more men with cameras and microphones just asking questions. Because it seems to cause a lot of problems to these people. Like, that's what you need, ultimately. As many people as possible doing that shit at these fucking protests. I mean, these people are absolutely fine showing up to women's protests to drown them out, aka censor them. So yeah, I think that's probably the best way. Just go up and ask some friendly questions to some people. Slight pushback. You don't need to go crazy over it, because it's not going to help.
Because they can still identify as what you want. Man, dog, cat, woman.
Mule deer.
Do what you want, yeah. Just don't go into space if you're not. Yeah. Anyway.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I agree.
Fuck Trump. What's he got?
Fuck Trump in the UK.
What to do with it?
No idea.
That's funny.
if you're not. Yeah. Anyway.
Oh look, fuck Trump. What's he got to do with it?
No.
I should go to these I really shouldn't. Like, I shouldn't in my area anyway, because plenty of like the TRA types around here know who I am and do not like me. Like, even since before I started doing this.
You get called a Nazi, a fascist, doesn't matter what. Cheers. Cheers, mate. Alright guys, so let's wrap it up here. This was London, a crazy trans rights activist protest. I'm getting a bit tired now, so let's head home. I'll see you for the next one.
There we go. Wesley Winter versus the London protest. How nice. How nice. If it's a woman, they'll gladly shove their way around us, so it needs to be men doing it. I mean, to be fair, if you're brave enough and you're a woman and you understand that any assault and shit is going to be caught on camera, then fair enough. But yeah, that seems to be the way. You need people that don't think the same way, showing up to these things, just asking questions. Kind of seems like that causes a lot of problems with these people. But then the problem is, when they explain their ideology, it's utterly nuts. It wouldn't matter who was filming. It wouldn't matter who was interviewing. Like, the only problem that this guy and that GB resistance person had is that people recognized them and found their content and are like, oh shit, these people are ever so slightly right of me, so they must be fascists.